CitrusTV studio, I'm Jake Klein. We've made it to the thick of one of the best times of the sports calendar. Baseball's underway, the Masters is on the docket, the NBA and NHL are headed straight for the postseason, and of course, the Final Four is here. The men's and women's tournaments will both crown their champion this weekend, and for us, that means one thing. There's some money to be made on Beat the Bookie. First, we can briefly review my history on this program, a rather poor showing as a result of the UMass football Minutemen failing to cover the most free first-half spread ever against the Western Michigan Broncos in the fall. I digress. I got to be better. I know that. Josh Richardson could have been better as well when he appeared on this very program a week ago. And to think he's now basking in the Southern California sun. Wasn't a great showing from Josh, but certainly not a bad showing, especially for the unimaginably low standards of this television show. He loses just $10. Brings us to our spring standings. Griffin Marcy continues to lead the way. He's kind of the only one who's made any substantial money. Look, you lose $10 like Josh did, and that gets you third place. That's just about the way that this program has gone all year at CitrusTV. All right, that's enough futzing around. Let's do this thing. Let's beat the bookie.
Hey, Jerry, you better yell! Show me the money! Show me the money!
We begin our games of the week in the men's Final Four, where 2-seed UConn, fresh off its miracle Elite Eight victory, battles 3-seed Illinois. Now, I'm just going to come out and say it. I cannot, in good conscience, pick against Dan Hurley and UConn right now. Sadly, producers Griffin, Bloomstein, and Ventola have prevented me from betting money lines in our Games of the Week segment, but if I could, I would. And to let you in on a little hint, I will in just a moment. For now, though, let's settle with a March legend-to-be, Hurley, in his third Final Four in 4 years against the Illini, coached by Brad Underwood, who takes the abnormally high step onto the Final Four court for the first time on Saturday. Give me UCONN plus 2.5 for $10. On the other side of the bracket, America readies for a heavyweight fight on Saturday night. 1-seed Michigan, 1-seed Arizona. It's a tough call. Both teams are so elite, loaded with talent, and most importantly this time of year, pretty well coached. Just like with UConn, though, my logic stays the same this deep into the tournament. I'm trusting the guys who've been there before. And in a battle of two of the most talented teams this season saw, Michigan's experience is what gives them the boost. Plus, you really going to trust Tommy Lloyd in this big spot? Come on, let's get $5 on the blue. That brings us to the C-suite, where we'll check out my picks head-to-head with our aforementioned producers. They agree with me on the UConn pick. They're fading me with Arizona plus 1.5. They could tie things up, the talent with the 1-game lead on the C-suite so far this spring. So a lot riding on that Michigan-Arizona 1.5-point spread on Saturday. Now, longtime viewers of Beat the Bookie will remember that about a minute ago, I told you I wished I was allowed by our stubborn and irresistant producers to bet the money line in our Games of the Week. I mean, seriously, why would that be a rule, right? Anyway, now's our chance. I like UConn to beat Illinois, straight up as the dog, but I'm also here to inform you that your book is likely hiding value from you. You bet the Huskies money line, you can get it in the neighborhood of plus 108. Yet if we bet UConn to reach the national championship, which I remind you is the exact same bet, we can get it at plus 115. So let's do that. Another $5 on the Huskies to eliminate the Illini and get to the final. To the index of other college basketball, Auburn continues to roll through an NIT field filled with teams that weren't good enough to win one-bid leagues. Tough tests like South Alabama, Seattle, and Illinois State have the Tigers set up for a championship showdown with Tulsa. Should be a real thriller, right? Yeah, well, if you want to savor one of your last chances to bet college hoops this year, dial up the Tigers and the Golden Hurricane on Sunday night and take the team that's clearly superior to the rest in this field. Auburn by 4.5 or more. Let's throw another $5 on that. On the women's side, two of the titans of the sport meet in the Final Four on Friday night, and two of its legendary coaches do as well. Top seeds UConn and South Carolina collide as Gino Auriemma faces Dawn Staley yet again. Remember when Staley won 4 straight against Gino's teams a couple of years ago, including a tournament knockout? Well, all the Huskies have done is respond with back-to-back wins in the series, including the Natty last year. and it doesn't hurt that Gino's team, as good as the Gamecocks and the other Final Four teams are, is far and away the best team in the nation. I think they cover all the way to the finish line, including taking care of 6.5 on Friday. Let's throw another 10 on that, giving us a grand total of 25 of our 100 Beat the Bookie dollars reliant on the University of Connecticut stores. I don't love that, but hey, gotta do what you gotta do. That brings us to our underdog of the week, and we'll find it in a place where underdogs notoriously don't exist. The NCAA Women's Basketball Tournament. Yeah, I know, historically it just doesn't really happen. But this year's been a little different. How about the run Virginia went on as a 10 seed? And honestly, this deep into the tournament, all of the teams, except maybe UConn, are all at least somewhat on the same playing field. That's why I like the value in putting $5 on UCLA to beat Texas in the other Final Four game. The Bruins are 35-1. They've won 29 straight, and I think they avenged their lone loss to the Longhorns on Friday with a nice value win for us. Alas, our lock of the week. Now, I could tell you that I know for certain that UConn is going to knock out Illinois or Michigan has Arizona's number, but the truth is I don't. I think those things are true. I hope those things are true, but we're all going to find out together. That's what makes this time of year in college hoops so tough to bet. You've got the casuals who've watched 3 games, moving the lines everywhere, crazy stuff happening left and right, and you end up with great teams going head-to-head in matchups that are hard to get a read on. So for our lock of the week, let's leave that all behind and let's simply give you the most fun bet in sports, the Nerfie. If you're not familiar with the Nerfie, that's no run first inning in a baseball game. It's the highest pressure, quickest to unfold, most fun bet in sports, and I've got a great one on tap for you. $40, yep, $40 on the Royals and the Brewers to go under a run in the first inning on Saturday. Enjoy this one in the midst of sweating the basketball on Saturday night. And finally, back to the court for a little sprinkler for your Final Four bets. Illinois has shown it can win a gritty, dirty game, but it remains to be seen if they can beat UConn that way. I think all 4 teams this weekend have to try to play fast and outpace the other, which leads us to the perfect bet. At plus 220, great value, we can get every men's Final Four team to score at least 30 points in every half of basketball. Not a lock by any means, but again, just like our UCLA pick earlier, great bang for the buck here. Let's throw $4 on that and see where it takes us. Still on the court, and it's time for my national champion pick. And while it's tough to not say UConn is going to do this thing again on both the men's and women's sides, we've got to side with the men's team that, at the end of the day, has the most talent. Love them or hate them, that team is Michigan. What Dusty May has assembled here is an unbelievable collection of talent that really has no weaknesses. I mean, seriously, you can't name one thing that Michigan doesn't do well. It's not going to be easy for any of these 4 teams to lift the hardware, but let's ride with the team that's currently the favorite for a reason. The Maize and Blue are our national champions at plus 150 for $5 more. And surprise, we've got 2 futures for you on Beat the Bookie today, and I'll step off the hardwood and through the azaleas to Augusta National. Our esteemed aforementioned producers have sadly chosen others to appear on the Masters edition of this show, but I'm giving you my pick anyway. You want to tune in here next week and hear somebody blabbering about how Akshay Bhatia will win because he's a lefty? Or do you want the real winner? It's Ludvig Åberg. A little bit of a slow start for the Swede this season, but he's rounding into form, and by form I mean one of the top few golfers in the world, and he's doing it at the perfect time. Finished top 10 at Augusta the last 2 years, including a runner-up finish 2 years ago, so he's played the course well, and at plus 1,600, let's hammer a massive winner in Ludvig Åberg, the Swede by way of Lubbock, Texas, to wear the green jacket in Georgia for $5. Let's take a look at our past Beat the Bookie futures from this semester, starting with a couple of big losers. Adam Hipsky had the Houston Cougars to win it all. He was wrong. Josh Richardson bet the Iowa State Cyclones to cut down the net. He too was gravely mistaken. And for the spring, we're still waiting on our first future to cash. Arnav Pokrel and Gabe Perrin still waiting on their results. I'm right there with Gabe. He's got Ludvig Åberg to win the Masters as well. All right, parlay time. The tragic end to today's program. Now, one of the 3 rules of betting for Beat the Bookie anchor emeritus Andrew Selliver is to never bet parlays, and it's a rule which I couldn't agree more with. Parlays are inherently stupid. People risk just as much money as they do on straight bets, and they just don't win them very often. I don't bet parlays, but again, the Beat the Bookie overlords have forced me to give you one anyway. So I'll put one single American dollar on this Hungry Dogs Run Faster parlay. It's the best value I can get you this weekend in college hoops for $1, though I will warn you, it is inherently unlikely to win. Increase the bet at your own risk. It starts with the UConn men to beat Illinois. Probably the underdog money line that I like the most for aforementioned reasons of an elite coach and an experienced team. Then we'll throw Arizona in there, another talented team that might have as good a chance to dethrone Michigan as anyone still standing in this tournament. I do still like the Wolverines, but hey, it's Hungry Dogs Run Faster, right? And lastly, on that line, our dog of the week. On the women's side, UCLA to get revenge on Texas and book its ticket to the national title game. $1 wins you about $8.30. Again, hey, if you like it, put some more on it. I'm sticking with my plan. All right, there's your parlay. Let's get a recap on everything we've talked about here on Beat the Bookie for this weekend. It's been a heck of a stretch. We're going with UConn as the underdog against Illinois. We're also taking them with that UConn to make the national title game bet at plus 115. I like Michigan against Arizona on the -1.5 number. We'll take Auburn in the NIT title game against Tulsa. And then on the women's side, UConn to cover against South Carolina, UCLA to upset Texas on the women's side as well. There's Beat the Bookie for Final Four weekend. Thank you so much for joining me. Go win some money. Want to thank our producers Griffin, Bloomstein, and Zach Ventola, our sports director Matthew Parry. I'm Jake Klein saying have a great final weekend of college hoops.